AMD is the earnings headliner this afternoon after the closing bell. Adjusted EPS expected to come in at 93 cents per share on the revenue of more than $7 billion for the first quarter. AMD nearly 50% off its 52-week high. Shares down more than 15% in 2025. Time now for Options Corner. Joining us for a deep dive into the chart for AMD, we've got Rick Ducat, lead market technician. All right, Rick, take us through the trends you're paying attention to on this chart.
One of the things that amazes me most about trading so often is how quickly fortunes can change for a particular stock. AMD seems like it used to be the darling of the industry. Now it's underperforming both its benchmark technology sector and the S&P. It's down more than 35% during the past year, while the others have been making small gains here. So we can see, though, that this one has been pretty beaten up over the past year. We put in a new 52-week low recently at 76.48. But now we're in an interesting situation heading into earnings. You can see that we have this long, consistent, downward sloping channel here, and price is just starting to edge above it, as well as testing the orange 63-day EMA. We can also see that momentum has been on the move to the upside heading into earnings, following this green trend line here. So that would be one clear point to look out for, that area near 102, that 63-day EMA, Diane.
Okay, all right. And anything else that you're noticing about volume recently in AMD?
Sure. So one thing to look at as well is we had a floor here a couple times, and then that became a new ceiling. So old support became new resistance near 115. If we were to add our other studies, volume profile and standard deviation channel, you can see that lines up with the biggest volume node to the upside here. So around 115 seems like a notable area to watch there.
Okay, around 115, notable area to watch on AMD. Thanks, Rick. Now to take us through an example trade, I want to bring in Tom White, senior options contributor and co-host of Fast Market. So, Tom, how would you structure or set up an example trade ahead of AMD's latest results?
Yeah, Rick mentioned the technicals on that. On the 50-day simple moving average, which I tend to look at quite a bit, around 98 bucks. It's finally broken through there over the last couple of sessions to the upside. Does that act like support? We'll wait and see. The option market pricing in about a plus or minus 8% move in the shares, just over $8 either way. So implied volatility levels are pretty elevated in this name going into the report. So I looked at something. If you're bullish on this name, you think it's going to go higher by maybe that one standard deviation or more, this takes advantage of it. So we're looking at a bullish call diagonal here in AMD going into these results, where we're going to go out to the May 16th monthly cycle that expires in just 10 days. We're going to buy that at the money 100 strike call. The stock's going to open up just below that area. Buy the 100 strike call in the May 16th options, and then in the May 9th weekly options that expire in just 3 days, we're going to sell the 108 strike call. That lines up with that one standard deviation move. So a bullish $8 wide call diagonal to the upside. You're going to pay roughly for an $8 wide call diagonal about $370. So less than half the width of that call diagonal. Why is that? Well, the volatility levels in each option series a little bit different there on this one. If you pay $370 debit, anything above about 102 is going to be profitability on this strategy. You see where the apex of profitability lines up, right at or near that 108 strike, about that one standard deviation. Now you'll have that ability to roll or adjust that short option as you get closer to expiration over the next 3 days. But the vol dispersion is what lowers the entry point price and risk on this type of position, where you're buying about a 77% implied volatility on aggregate in those May 16th 100 strike call, selling over 100% implied volatility in that May 9th weekly 108 strike call. So that vol dispersion lowers the entry point on this type of trade. Now, this is a bullish position. Remember, you want the stock to go higher, but it's about the strategy. If you're more bearish on a name like this, maybe you buy the put diagonal if you think this thing is going to slide post earnings. Rick mentioned those 52-week lows near about $76 a share. So
you snuck in a 2-for-1 example trade there, Tom. All right, we like that. All right, that's Tom White with an example trade on AMD ahead of its latest quarterly results, which come later today after the closing bell.